Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Proview Network crew, assemble!
That's good! We're first!
High school sports are back live on Proview Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters! It's like it never happened!
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Red Menace TV here on Proview Networks. Leroy Lucero of Enchantment Sports and Red Menace TV, along with my co-host. Well, he's not here quite yet, Michael Carlisle, but we're doing live. We can't wait. He's a radio guy. How could you be a radio guy and be running late? You know what time it is in this world. Hey, definitely we're going to have Micah Frankel in with CageMinds.com talking about that MMA. I think he might even talk UFC today. I don't even know exactly. I just know if it's combat sports, Micah Frankel has it all. Also today we're going to talk about that big Lobo victory over Incarnate Word, 62-30. Huge win. I'm going to say this right away as they go on to play, I think it's number 4, Wisconsin, this Saturday morning local time. Don't take how good the Lobos played or didn't play into effect versus Incarnate Word. And don't take how good or how bad they're going to play as far as Wisconsin's concerned on Saturday, because I think it's going to be a mix and match of both. Yeah, they had their way with Incarnate Word. Except maybe defensively. I know there's a lot of people complaining about that, and that's something that I definitely will talk to Michael Carlisle about. Why is it, Lobo fans, and I'm going to say this, you know, with all the love that I have, but I've lived here for 50 years. I've been a Lobo fan my whole life. I know exactly what it is. Nothing brings out the hate and self-loathing a Lobo fan like a big Lobo football victory. I don't understand it. When they win, it's like people have to really work hard to find something to complain about. I wrote about that on Enchantment Sports, talked about that on Facebook. Of course, we're here on Facebook Live. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch me on Facebook on Red Menace TV. But What is it about Lobo victories that people have to find something to complain about? The defense gave up too many yards. We shouldn't have given up that last second point. They didn't even cover. I guess it was a 30-some-odd point spread, and that last minute touchdown by the Cardinals of Incarnate Word broke that. People complain about they didn't throw enough. There was an interception. It's like we always got to find something to cry about instead of just saying, you know what? They won a game. Enjoy the win, especially since there wasn't that many last year. In fact, I think we finished I think the Lobos finished the season kind of not doing too well. But yet they get a victory, and all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, well, this team sucks anyway, blah, 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 blah. I just don't get it. I understand that the attendance was down from this home opener from last year. Everyone's trying to put in the effect of maybe the fact that UNM cut soccer. And here's a little surprise for you. UNM Athletic Director Eddie Nunez will be a guest right here on Red Menace TV next week. We've already confirmed that, so Eddie Nunez will come in, and we're going to talk about cutting sports, talk about the future of sports here at UNM. We'll also talk about what's going on now. In the paper today, there was an article as the Lobo basketball team announced their schedule. The men's basketball team announced their schedule as that's been finalized. And there was a little quote on the bottom where Jeff Grammer was talking to Eddie Nunez, and they talked about cutting sports and money and tickets. And then they asked him about possibly cutting more sports, namely baseball, as that would be the next one on the line to being cut. And like I told you months ago when the soccer things were, don't be shocked if this isn't the end of cuts, because it's definitely a possibility that more sports would be cut. Why? It's a business, folks. Athletics is a business at the NCAA level. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. They want to hear that it's not pro sports, but it is. There's money being made. People are making wages, not just coaches, but the players. They do get some sort of a living wage as far as food, as far as a place to live for their work. That is a wage. That is what work is. Now, it may not be what they want. It may not be the amounts that you're going to get in a professional setting. It may not even be an amount that the universities are making, especially when you're talking P5, but they are getting paid. And the thing is, in order for them to get paid, whether it's scholarships, food, and room and board, or whatever it is that they're getting paid, you have to have money to pay people. And UNM is having a problem making money. Why, you ask? Because people don't go to the football games. There, like I said, the attendance was down. We have a bunch of those silly boxes that were made that killed the mezzanine section in the pit that are going unused. Coach Weir talked about possibly turning those unused boxes into offices for the basketball coaches and some of the basketball teams. Will that happen? I don't know. I know he spoke to the Board of Regents about it. I have a different take about that. I think that UNM should use those boxes, keep them the way they are, and use those boxes, give those tickets away to the Boys and Girls Clubs here in Albuquerque and surrounding areas, possibly give it away to families that they have a child at Carrie Tingley or one of the hospitals where their child is suffering through some serious sickness or diseases. Give them an opportunity to come catch a Lobo basketball game and relax, get away from that situation, get them out of a hospital and possibly in there. Or give them away to children and people that are in a battered women's shelter, something like that. Give those people an opportunity to come and catch a Lobo basketball game and just get lost in the world of fantasy that should be sports. Because that is what sports is. It's a place to kind of get away from the real world, to get away from the pain. I think that would do more to build goodwill towards the public and the community, and maybe even give them an opportunity to try to do some fundraising there in the pit when you bring them in there. Get the Boys and Girls Club people in there, and then allow people to maybe donate to that cause. That would create more goodwill than creating a basketball office or just let thoughts. When Michael comes in, we'll talk a little bit more about that. And until then, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with Micah Frankel at CageMinds.com.
Summer's still going as he breaks another tackle in the 5 all the way in the end zone.
Touchdown.
Punched up. He's looking to throw. Throws it in the end zone. Ball is caught. Touchdown.
Davison, nice move by Davis, 35, 30, got a block, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Nice. Jeff Davison, 45-yard touchdown run, and he started it with a fake salute.
Oh man, this beat is crazy.
Back to Davison's right, Lewis again up the middle, scoring through, big hole, 20, 25, 15, 5, touchdown. Wow. Dorian Lewis, 40-yard touchdown run.
That's just me. So right now you have 3 senior quarterbacks up the middle. There goes Rotten to the end zone. This time no flags. Touchdown Rio Rancho.
Well, look out. A kickoff back the other way. And look at this. A quick strike by Johnny Terrazas, the junior.
Strikes back behind us. I'm wondering how close those are getting.
Ooh, don't need any more of those. On the return is Kyle. Kyle's in the open, and look out. He's got some room. Kyle's to the 30. Breaks it back inside to the 10, and touchdown as he dives for the end zone.
Got a block, shot out of a cannon, and he's gone.
There's your answer.
Touchdown, and Gabe Smith takes. Here's Gabe Smith, the cut the other way. Look out, Gabe Smith to the near side. He's got the first down and a lot more. A foot race down the sideline across the 30. Gabe Smith gonna take it all the way. Touchdown. Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide coaches award program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Welcome to the place where we talk about people getting punched in the face. This is Caged Minds. I'm Micah Frankel. There was a lot of great action this past weekend. You had the WFC up at the Northern Edge Casino. Thanks to Destiny Bailey, we have results at CagedMinds.com. The World Fighting Championship page is sharing a lot of great Gomez Photo Works images from the event. King of the Cage was at the Sky Ute Casino, and we have a new King of the Cage women's 135-pound champion. Jocelyn Edwards was able to secure an armbar and submit Brenda Means Gonzalez. You had Janjaroba with the head and arm triangle in the second round, defending her Invicta FC title for the first time. That's what happened this past weekend. Now we have a huge weekend upcoming. Nebraska is playing host to LFA 48. Check that out Friday night on Access TV. A ton of top prospects, including Rafian Stotts, will be on that card. Saturday, 2 incredible events going down. On the boxing side, in Brooklyn, you have Danny Garcia, who had trained with guys like Josh Pitbull Torres, the champ from our town, and Hector El Hurricane Munoz. Garcia takes on Sean Porter. That's on Showtime. You have UFC action. You know that's what I'll be watching. UFC is in Dallas, Texas at the American Airlines Arena. 2 titles on the line, including in the co-main event, Nico Montano defending the women's flyweight title for the first time against Valentina Shevchenko. And in the main event, Darren Till challenging Tyrone Woodley. Don't forget also from Albuquerque, New Mexico, John Dotson and Diego Sanchez both in action. Dotson on the FS1 prelims and Sanchez headlining the Fight Pass prelims. So check out UFC Fight Pass if you haven't done that to see Diego Sanchez in action. Now for us here today, this week, we got a guest joining us. He's an amateur fighter. He's been doing it for 14 fights now. Let's get to know Caleb Ramirez a little more.
What's up, man?
How you doing, sir?
Very good.
So, right away, first off, gotta mention, people already think this guy's a superstar. As we meet outside the studio, people are asking to take pictures of this man.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. He just thought I looked different, unique or something. He wanted to take a picture of me, some traveling guy. So I was like, hey, why not? Let's do it.
You get that? You get you look the native authentic look, I guess, sometimes to tourists?
Yeah, occasionally I get that. But I'm just one of many, we all kind of try to be ourselves, but I guess I'm just a little different, I guess.
That's definitely your own style, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, training with Latrell Yee, but Sacramento area born and raised, right?
For the most part, yeah.
So tell us about that upbringing.
Well, I was born in Woodland, California, and I moved to Happy Camp, California, where I lived a few years there, which is a very peaceful little old minor town, and then Oregon for a little bit with my mom. And it's an interesting thing of how I came to be is my mom's a hillbilly and my dad's a wild Indian, so it's like the mix of the two. I always just joke around and say they were just both running around in the woods one day and they just met each other, so I'm not sure how it worked out, but I'm glad it did.
Interesting mix right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you grow up then a little more in tune with nature, hanging out in the woods?
Absolutely. My dad and my mom both were very spiritual people, not necessarily religious if you want to call it, but they let me like know about life, and I was very well informed before other kids in school, so I kind of knew what life was about, you know, and I just got to live a very interesting upbringing, a lot of craziness and a lot of wilderness in my life, you know, living out in the sticks, in the mountains, hunting, fishing. My dad taught me many things, beadwork, everything, you know, even just this hat, like it's all part of my upbringing. It's not just a, you know, this ring, my cousin made it. Like, so for me, like everything is a part of me. I don't wear things or do things that aren't me, you know. If it isn't me, that's just not a part of me. You know, I'm not gonna like put something on to try to look fancy, you know. So that's a part of my upbringing, is to be myself.
A little bit different upbringing, a little bit different values than what you've seen, I guess, just in bigger cities and other people, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, but every place has its own uniqueness. Like even here, just in this city here in Albuquerque, find a lot of interesting things and a lot of interesting people. I love it here. It's a great place, you know. But home is home, you know. My Carnage family, my coach, my original coach, Coach Dana Morrissey. You know, he's the one that kind of like built me up from, like, I came into his place as a nobody, as nothing.
Well, when?
2014 maybe, or something like that, is when I like stepped into his gym, and then we just went from there. And I didn't quit. And look back, from the day I started training with him, I didn't take a day off pretty much until now. Like recently I took like about a month off because my grandpa died, and then about 6 months before that, his brother, my great uncle, died, which was like another grandpa to me. And so I had a lot of death and crazy stuff going on this year. So it's been an interesting year. A lot of things to propel me into the future, you know.
Take a step back though. Why? Why start training? Why martial arts?
I got picked on a lot. See this hair? And my traditional ways, I would wear things to school, you know, with something on it, feathers, whatever, and they'd make a lot of fun of me. So got in a lot of fights. I didn't take too kindly to that, so I just, every once in a while, I'd get in a fight, you know. Well, quite often. But yeah, so yeah, I just wanted to learn how to fight, really. Like, and I was obsessed with martial arts. I watched the original UFCs as a kid, and UFC 1 through 20 was like one of the things that my dad would like put on for me, the VHS, you know, and that was something that I loved to watch. And then Bruce Lee, of course, and even though most people don't like him, but Steven Seagal was just one of those things as a kid, you're like, oh, that's cool. You know?
His movies were great.
Yeah.
It's when you get to an adult and you start hearing stories and other stuff that you kind of, he loses the luster a little bit. But so some of those early UFCs, who was your guy? Who were your favorites?
Oh man, I always liked Tank Abbott a lot just because of his attitude to walk in there and just like, you know, be a gunslinger. But he wasn't always like, you know, obviously the best, but he was just, you know, that's my attitude, go in there and give it your all, you know, no matter what. So I think Tank Abbott was like one of my absolute favorites. Even though Royce Gracie was awesome, he was the champ, but it was like, you know, I just liked Tank a lot. He was pretty cool.
And the original martial art you started with, what was that dojo doing?
Well, I very first started with jiu-jitsu, just like dabbling with it, and then a little bit of Muay Thai. But the thing that actually like stuck with me the most was kickboxing with Coach Dana Morrissey. That's the thing that like really brought me in, because it just like had the well-versity of everything. And he also, he does everything. He used to be an MMA fighter, boxer, everything, so he kind of incorporated everything. So as soon as I started learning MMA, that was it.
How did you get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm doing MMA, I'm gonna compete, I'm not just gonna train? How long did it take you? Halfway through the first class?
No, even since I was a kid, like watching Ultimate Fighter, I always thought that that's how it should be. You should go in there and like bang it out, 3 fights, 4 fights in one night. And that's actually what I did one time. I went down to Mexico and I won that championship. That was pretty fun. That was probably the most fun thing.
And that was for the World MMA Championships, correct?
Yeah, I became the first Native American in history to fight or compete against other countries and represent all my people as a nation, which I hope I do that in a good way. I went down there to compete and represent First Nations MMA at that time. And I competed against like Guatemala and Nicaragua, all kinds of other, Mexico, other countries were there. And I fought 3 fights in 2 days. And the championship fight, I didn't know, which was I'm glad, but I didn't know that the guy was, he was 11 or 12 and 0. He never been beaten. So for me, I was like, I'm glad I didn't speak Spanish. Because I didn't have nothing to distract me. I just went in there and did my thing, you know.
How did you prepare for that scenario? You said it's the way it should always be, but there's difference between thinking about that and after the weigh-ins thinking, oh, tomorrow here it goes. I might fight 3 times in 2 days. Dude, that's going to be a little bit trying.
Well, to be honest, just where I grew up in Woodland is like, you know, there was a lot of scraps, you know, so you got in a fight here, you got in a fight there. And sometimes, you know, you knew you were going to get in a fight that day, so you just like, you're like, all right, when I see him, it's going down, you know. So it's just kind of how, I guess I'm just kind of conditioned for it, you know. I don't really, it doesn't bother me. So I just go in there and I'm like, all right, let's do it. Like, I enjoy it. So for me, it was like not necessarily, once you step in there and they shut that gate, that cage, man, it's like, it's over. Boom, you're focused. Like, win, lose, draw, it doesn't matter. You're going in there to do your thing. Everything else disappears. The people, most time I barely even notice that the ref is in there. It's just me and that dude. So I don't even, like, each fight was its own thing. So I wasn't even preparing for the whole thing. I was preparing for each one individually.
So far, is that the biggest accomplishment of your competitive career?
Yeah, I would say biggest accomplishment, yes. You know, all the little stuff is, you know, adds up, but like that was the big one, you know, for sure.
But there's not just fighting. I mean, trying to schedule you for an interview, you're busy, man. There's a jack of all trades, an artist. I saw you the other day. Last week we had on Lawrence Herrera when we talked the performance rounds. Well, we're there for the grand opening. Someone's there helping the kids with archery. So just a lot of interest. There's more layers to Caleb Ramirez. Tell us about yourself.
Well,
besides fighting.
Okay, besides fighting, you know, like I said, I grew up like shooting and fishing and all that stuff. So my dad always just taught me you have to be self-efficient. My mother at the same time. So, I mean, believe me, man, government, you know, commodities on my mom's side, that was a big thing. There's a lot of stuff, you know, like dumpster diving was a thing. Like growing up, like super poor, you know. So we lived off of. My grandpa would go behind the store and grab stuff that they threw out because it was not bad yet, but it was a sell-by date or whatever. So I learned if you haven't had powdered milk or like those big blocks of government cheese, stuff like that, you know, big giant bags of oatmeal that you can like feed a cow with, like those are the kind of things I grew up on. So it made you all those things make you have to adapt and make you have to just deal with what's in front of you. So I've learned to have to do a lot of things, you know, like buying junker cars. My first car, like it was like $400 for my first car, and it didn't run, but I got it running. So it's like, you know, that's how I've always thought of things. It's like if I wanted something, I was just gonna go get it. So yeah, I know how to shoot a bow. Yeah, I know how to shoot a gun. Yeah, I know how to tear a gun apart and clean it, put it back together. All those things is because you grow up without things. So once you get to a point in life where you start to get things and you earn things, that's okay. But you know, you don't want to lose sight of that. So that's why I build engines. I used to be a tech at an automotive place. I've been a foreman for 2 construction companies. I really don't have like, my dad always said, just don't pigeonhole yourself, you know, like don't paint yourself in the corner. Like always be willing to learn from somebody. You know, there's no one more important than the man that pushes the broom. Is the same man who makes the plans to build the building, because you don't get paid until that floor is swept. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's on the same even keel. As long as you're all working hard and getting towards the same goal, a white belt and a black belt should always be able to learn from one another. So it's the same thing. So that's how I always try to not be so like closed-minded, so I can always learn something. You know what I mean? So that's why I do so many things, and I do so much stuff. Like I really don't even, you know, I recently wanted to get into making knives. Like there's not really, if I just think about it, I'm like, oh, that looks cool, and then I just if you could punch somebody in the face, make yourself, okay, I just need to roll this over this way. Of course you can make this little adjustment and make like some beadwork or do something small and intricate. So it's really just about your mind and like adjusting. So there's not really anything I don't do. You know, guitar, I like to play. I'm not really great, but I love to play guitar. It's fun. You know, I always see Nico Montano playing her guitar, and I'm like, oh, cool, I do that too. But yeah, so it's just, you know, I also like to do things that people can relate to. So when they see stuff on my Instagram or my Facebook, I want them to relate to what I'm doing so that they feel what I'm doing, not just see what you feel it. So I'm more of a person of feeling and emotion and like attaching to people by that, rather than trying to be this big flashy showy guy. It's like, oh, look at all my stuff. Well, this is my bling bling right here. That's all I need. You know what I mean?
How did the martial arts journey lead you to Albuquerque, New Mexico?
Cowboy, to be honest. I wanted to go out to his ranch. it was my first like thought of Albuquerque, and also my family's originally from here, part of my family. So then I went out to Jackson's. I just said, hey, you know, I can't get into Cowboys at that time. I was like, I'm just going to go to Jackson's because that's like where he goes. So I'm going to check that out and see what environment he surrounds himself with, because I just want to surround myself with that kind of a person, because I see how he lives his life. And I was like, that's an awesome way to live. So I want to do that, which I've become friends with him. He's a really cool guy, by the way. But it's really, you know, that's how I got out here, just like chasing after that dream. And then once it came to fruition, I got here. I made friends, and then I got offered to go to the Trails. I didn't know about the whole like differences between the gyms, but I didn't care. I was like, hey, you know, I just want to train, which everybody was, you know, eventually kind of worked itself out. But now I'm over at Latrell Yee MMA, and I love it there. Great people. I mean, Coach Latrell, Coach Yee, Adrian, one of the other coaches and owners, they're awesome people, and I love it there. So now I'm here. I got here, I loaded up my truck with my Harley, with all my tools, everything. Believe me, man, I loaded everything up. I just adventured out.
You are a New Mexico resident now.
I
have made the decision.
Oh, no, yeah, believe me, yeah. As soon as, yeah, even my first trip just like a year ago, in April last year, I mean, I loaded everything up just in case. Because I, you know, like I'm the kind of guy, I mean, either all in or all out, like that's it. So I just loaded everything up and went.
Last time we saw you in action, it was Jackson Wing Fight Night, and it was the submission win over Dakota Monroe. I'm correct, right?
Yes, last time you guys saw me, yeah.
And, well, have you had another fight since then?
Yeah, I lost by decision. It was for a title, but that was just, I could give excuses all day, but I just really wasn't like mentally in the right place, and I had a lot going on. So I didn't put everything into it like I should have, but now I'm back to square one, and you know.
Well, what's the next goals? What's the next plan as far as competing, as far as being a martial artist, either way?
Okay, next goal, go fight 135, drop down a little bit more. I'm gonna fight one more amateur fight, and then I'll make my pro debut, and then no, maybe about 6 fights, 7 fights, then I'll start looking into like contender series and stuff like that. Like I got goals, you know what I mean? Like the goal is to make it on. I mean, if you don't want to make it into UFC, it's like saying something like asking a kid like, "Hey, you want to just play AAA ball?" No, he wants to make it he wants to make it in pro ball. He wants to make the big deal. So like, yeah, I want to make it in UFC. So yeah, you know, one more amateur fight and then go pro.
And then for everybody that's a fan, how can they keep up with you across the social media?
All right, it's real simple. I'm not, like I said, I'm not really like flashy, you know? So it's just my names, Caleb Ramirez, CalobRamirez, and you can find me anywhere on Instagram, Facebook. I'm on Twitter, but I don't use it because I'm not into that. But
got
yeah.
some sponsors, right?
Yeah, of course, gotta do sponsor shout outs. Most recently has been Brad Maestas. He's my chiropractor. Awesome dude. He's over at Latrell Yee MMA in the office there in the front. Definitely helped me out a lot. Good dude. And Damage Control. Keep my teeth in my face. Need those. And Executive One, printing company in Woodland, back home. Big shout out to them. Take care of me big time. Living H2O Water Company. Good friends. You know, they got good clean water, good ice, all that stuff. Whatever you need, go down there and check them out. And oh yeah, Custom Applications has been one of my first sponsors. They took care of me. They paid for like when you ever get all your stuff done and you need, you know, blood tests, all that stuff. They take care of you for like paying for applications. He's taken care of me big time, lots of times. Even just recently on that last JW fight, he took care of me. And then, you know what? Like biggest sponsor I've got is well, the gym obviously, Latrell Yee MMA. They take care of me very well. Always making sure I got prepared, weights on point, and actually my biggest sponsor is my family. They don't pay, it's not money, but like in here.
That support system.
Support system. Like no matter what, every time I go fight, Billy Carruthers, he's one of my mentors from back in when I used to train with my coach at Carnage. And every time before a fight or before he's gonna fight, we're always talking to each other, and he's always like talking me up and making sure I'm where I need to be, confidence, you know what I mean? And so is with my family, my dad, and my brother, everybody. You know, they're always like, hey man, be safe, have fun, you know, don't get knocked out.
Thank you for being here this week with me, Caleb. And we're going to be right back with more Leroy Lucero, Red Menace TV, as we play Where in the World is Michael Carlisle?
Proview Network crew, assemble!
That's good for first.
High school sports are back live on Proview Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog! Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car crafters, it's like it never happened.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewnetworks.com to buy your DVD today. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Hey, welcome back to Red Menace TV here on Proview Networks. Leroy Lucero once again, not only at Proview Networks here on Red Menace TV, but also enchantmentsports.com, where I cover a lot of high school football. And if you're going to get high school football news and views, what better place to get it than here at Proview Networks is this weekend. We have a huge set of games coming up, starting on Thursday, ending on Saturday, and throwing in there some high school volleyball, as well as some soccer, as well as some collegiate football. Go Cowboys, as Richard Tripp will be in Las Vegas as Adams State comes and plays the Highland Cowboys. Go Cowboys, as I am now a Cowboy there at New Mexico Highlands. All right, so make sure you catch that. But it starts off this Thursday night. Can you believe that this is going to be the game right here? I think that everyone's looking forward to. The Cleveland Storm comes and plays El Dorado. Adams on the call there. That's going to be at Wilson Stadium, but you can catch it streaming on the NFHS network and, of course, live here on Comcast 26. That's going to be one heck of a game. El Dorado just coming off thumping, and I mean thumping, Las Cruces. As part of being part of Enchantment Sports is we do have a player of the week, and we named Gabe Smith the quarterback of El Dorado as our Gallus Chevrolet Player of the Week. What a week that young man had. Heck, he had a season in one game, over 600 yards total offense, 9 touchdowns, 5 on the ground, 4 through the air. Young man just had himself a whale of a season. I mean, of a game there, as Las Cruces was thumped by the El Dorado Eagles, and now they come in, they go from the fire into the storm. As Cleveland comes to town to play. You like that, right? To come in and play El Dorado, that ought to be a good game. And once again, that's Thursday night. That would normally be a My 50 game of the week, but being it's Thursday, you're going to catch the My 50 game of the week is going to be another great one. Las Cruces coming in playing La Cueva. La Cueva obviously rocking that huge defense that they've been relying on. So once again, they're going to have Las Cruces coming to town. That's going to be a good one. Let's see if Las Cruces can bounce back after their thumping by the El Dorado Eagles. Also on Friday night, Alden is going to be directing this one. My man Alden, you got to give him. Yep, that's it. The Flying Hawaiian, Ed Nunez with the call as the Sandia Matadors go down to Los Lunas and play the Tigers. That ought to be a great game there. Also, Friday, you're going to catch the Metro Finals, the Soccer Metro Finals. Friday night also is going to be the Girls Soccer Metro Finals. Saturday, Ed Nunez with the call as Kirtland Central comes to town and plays SPX. Some of us know them as St. Pius X. I guess that would be St. Pius 10. I don't know if they do that. I mean, because the kids do that heart thing. I wonder if they do they do the X thing, or maybe the DAC? Okay, is that the Prescott, Dak Prescott, who, by the way, still hasn't signed with an NFL team. I don't know what the story is there. Also, Saturday, you have a couple of other games. I did mention the Adams State versus Highlands. And then back to the high school, Centennial comes to town to play Manzano. That ought to be a decent game. Manzano obviously isn't the team that they were last year when they won the 6A championship. Centennial's riding high. They're riding hot. And I think they come in and get a victory. And then, of course, my man, my former co-host, Sebastian Noel, who also helps me with the Proview Preview, which you can catch on Enchantment Sports. He's going to have the Moriarty versus Hope game on Saturday evening. Of course, State Fair's in town. So for all those schools that are coming and visiting Albuquerque or the metro area, you can also get a little shot of going to the State Fair and getting some of the action there. So that ought to be a pretty good game. Once again, Gabe Smith had a whale of a game last week, and you caught that on My 50 TV. And what a game that was, as Coach Dotson, when I talked to him about Gabe's game, he said, we wanted to pull him out, but props to Las Cruces. They weren't going to quit. They weren't giving up. They kept scoring, so you had to keep marching Smith out there, and he kept making plays. In other scheduling news, the Lobo men's basketball team came out with, once again, their partial schedule. They're hoping to come out with the whole thing. They start the season out November 6th versus Cal State Northridge. That's going to be there in, I don't even know where Cal State Northridge is. Oh, Northridge, California. I'm going to go with that, considering it's part of the name. Now they're working on a non-Division I opponent for a next exhibition game. That's going to be down Ralph Tasker Arena, as they're trying to get that New Mexico thing going where the schools go out and play elsewhere. Obviously, they have to get a waiver from the NCAA to play in a high school gym. Obviously, there would be potential recruiting situation there. I know that Coach Weir has really liked to get out to the high schools, introduce the players the current Lobo players to the high school players in a way to kind of build that camaraderie. I think it's a great thing. Obviously, the NCAA frowns upon that because they think that's an NCAA violation. Also, the Lobos are going to be playing Iona November 17th, the first at New Mexico State. UTEP comes to town on the 24th. The Lobos go to Bradley, then New Mexico State. They're going to be in that tournament versus St. Mary's. Colorado comes to town, Central Arkansas, and Penn. It's not complete yet, but that's going to be the thing. Also, some of the other news that came out of Lobo land, if you will, this week was Paul Weir talking about wanting to, and I alluded to that at the opening, Paul Weir's talking about trying to get some of those unsold boxes, the boxes that they put together there in which, I'm just going to say it. I said it then, and as we all know, I'm always right. I am always right. I said it then. I said this was going to be the biggest disaster. They shouldn't have wasted money on redoing the pit. They should have worked on the football stadium, which was needed then. And let's face it, ever since they worked on that pit, it's been nothing but an unmitigated disaster, right? They couldn't even, the boxes that were sold, they didn't even collect half the money. So they have some empty boxes that have never sold. Paul Weir's talking about turning them into some sort of offices for the men's, I was going to say the boys and girls. See, I've been getting too much into the high school sports, but when we go to college, it's men's and women's. But creating some office space there for the men's and women's basketball coaches. I, for one, I'm just going to say it, and I'm always right. I'm just going to say it. I'm always right. I think that's a mistake. I don't think that's what should be done. I think those boxes should be used for community development, just like Coach Weir likes to go out to all the high school teams and introduce that into all the areas. I think they should use those boxes. They should bring kids in from the boys and girls clubs. They should bring people in, families in that are currently at Carrie Tingley or hospitals like that with children that are ill. Give those families an evening out that they could come out and enjoy a Lobo basketball game. Maybe you go to the abused shelters where you have women and families, kids that they're suffering from abuse, and give some of those tickets to those young people and their parent, and allow them to come in and enjoy a basketball game. You know, you could throw them a Lobo dog, you could throw them a soda pop or whatever, and let them enjoy the evening. I think that would be better suited, and that would help build some of the relations that, let's face it, UNM right now still has a couple of black eyes and a busted nose based on the cutting of sports, based on the lack of attendance at football, based on the whining and crying, based on what happened with the former athletic director, Paul Krebs, and trips to Scotland and trips to the NCAA and tickets for brothers and cousins and sisters and granny and taking the car and moving to Beverly, to quote the Beverly Hillbillies. I just think this would be a good thing to just kind of try to build some community involvement there. Get people involved in that. Don't use those seats. Don't let those areas go to waste. You can use that now as they're unsold. Maybe they become sold later on. But if you convert them over to office space, then that's done. I understand that might help for recruiting or whatever, but you already have the Davilo Center. Look, I hear by the report, Jeff Grammer's report in the Albuquerque Journal, that the glass was too thin or whatever. Look, this is 2018. Get some thicker glass or double paint it. I mean, it can be fixed. Those are things that can be fixed. I just don't think the idea of taking out those seats and the potential revenue that are there for basketball office, I think that would just be a horrific mistake. Sorry, Coach Weir. I know that was your idea. I'm not saying that's a horrible idea. I just think it's a bad idea. And like I said, Alden, like I say, public, I am always right. I am always right. I don't know what it is. It's like something's in my brain, and maybe half of the brain. It's my superpowers. Thank you, Alden. My superpowers are always being right. And if I'm not right, I'll lie to you enough that you'll believe that I was right. Speaking of being right, before we take a commercial, I'm going to tell you about something else that I was right about last week. And I said Marcus Williams was going to have a huge year. Why? Let's not run we're going to run some video here after the break, and we'll talk a little bit about the Lobo football game. But why was I right? Because I told you the Lobos have put together a decent wide receiver core on the outside. And if they ever used a tight end, I thought Marcus Williams was going to be a great tight end. He can catch the ball out of the out of the tight end position. He's got some wheels. He's got some hands. He showed up real well against Incarnate Word, and he's going to show up, I think, through the rest of the season. So let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk some Lobo football.
Proview Proview Network crew, assemble!
That's good for first.
High school sports are back live on Proview Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog! Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car crafters, it's like it never happened.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Hey, welcome back to Red Menace TV. I got my handy dandy computer here. I'm definitely checking out all the stats. Once again, the Lobo game was just outrageous as the Lobos just put it on the incarnate word Cardinals by almost 30 points. I thought the game was pretty good. Once again, like I said in the opening, don't take this game as like this, man, the Lobos are on fire. They're going to be great the rest of the season. They had a good game against an inferior opponent. They step up in competition this Saturday, 10 a.m. New Mexico time, as they're playing number 4 Wisconsin. As much as they whooped up on the Incarnate Word, they're more than likely going to get whooped up by the Badgers of Wisconsin. So I would say don't take the big victory as, wow, this team's going to be amazing, and don't take the potential big loss as, wow, this team sucks, because that's usually what Lobo fan does. Usually what Lobo fan does is they say, oh, this team sucks. Here's a little bit of highlights shot by our very own Dana Dog, and there's my man Marcus Williams. I told you last week, the Lobos have a tight end. Now, when I first met Bob Davie, when he first came here, he talked about having that slot tight end / wide receiver, big, strong, fast, with good hands. And finally, after all the years that Davie's been here, they found him in Marcus Williams. As you can see, he had 2 touchdowns, a couple of passes. Both of them went for the touchdowns, did Marcus Williams. Go ahead, throw that interview up there.
What I was doing last year and stuff like that, and just being able to show my versatility and what I can do outside of just blocking, like I said, and getting the ball. Like, let's think you see Braden Dickey, he got the ball today. I think a lot of tight ends did their job, stepped in, did pretty good. So I think we got a lot of depth there, and I think we're looking forward to the season, rest of the season. Run a little seam route like I did, like we talked about the other day, and it was that route and scored a touchdown. So it felt like reminiscent of high school days, but it's different now, a lot different.
Once again, that's Marcus Williams. Like I told you, he's going to have a great year, and I think he's going to have a great year because of his size. As you saw the size there with him, sans pads. The way he plays, he's a perfect seam runner. He's going to find some spots. But also part of that thing is the Lobos have a really good core. Bob Davie has put together a really good core of wide receivers. Elijah Lilly moves over from the defense. We talked about him. He had a strong game. Jay Griffith IV, Aslam Uma, Anu Sumoy, Patrick Reed. Q Drennan did get injured. We don't know exactly. I think it's something like a dislocated hip. We're not sure exactly how long he's going to be out, if he's going to be out for a while. And, of course, Delane Hart-Johnson's in there as well. Look for these players and this wide receivers to make some plays. And I'm telling you, Marcus Williams is going to be open one-on-one, a lot running those seam routes. He's going to have linebackers covering him. They're going to have a tough time covering him. He's got enough speed that he can blow by, but he's big enough that he's not going to get chucked and stuck down on the line. Look for Marcus Williams to have a great year. As like I said, I am always right. Hey, I also want to talk real quick. I know we're running out of time. Tavaka Tuioti. I always pronounce, sorry, Mr. Tuioti, for mispronouncing your name. He had a good game. Once again, a couple of those passes were underthrown. He seems to be a better thrower on the run than he is in the pocket. What he has that's kind of freaking me out as watching the game was that he can throw across his body and get the ball across the field. Now, sometimes he hits him in stride, sometimes he underthrows them. You can get away with that versus Incarnate Word. I don't know if you can get away with it versus Wisconsin or some of the teams are going to be playing this year. So I look for Bob Davie and the offensive coordinator, Maggie, to get on that and really kind of look at that. But I really do like the way that he's a dual threat quarterback. Also, Sherian Jones came in. He looks like he could have a good career as well. Colin Gerhardt's going to be out this weekend. He's injured. If I had a concern about the offense, I'm still going to say that I think I'm a little bit concerned about their running game. It's not as good as it was in years back. Now, that might just be because Incarnate Word was focusing on it, or it could be that that's just going to be the changes as we go through more of a throwing offense and then running offense, but they're going to have to run the ball a little bit better and a little bit more consistency than they did this last game versus Incarnate Word. Tyrone Owens with only 60 yards, I believe, on 20 carries. That's not enough. He's going to need to see the ball more and get more open holes as that. Defense, yeah, it was a little tough. This team was pretty good, but one of the coolest things was the coach of Incarnate Word, former Texas Tech player, came up to the Red Menace, the guys that are in the end zone, the guys you see here there all the time. He says, hey, when I played for Tech, I remember you guys. You guys are still as ornery. You're still as ugly, and you're still as evil as you were before. So it's really good to have that reputation. 18 years of Red Menace. Props to Louis T. Carlos and everyone else that hangs out there and has kept that tradition alive as coaches and opposing players. They do remember, and whether they played here 18 years ago or 2 years ago, they remember the Red Menace and the noise and the ugliness and the mess. Hey, for Alden, for Micah, this is Leroy Lucero from Red Menace TV and enchantmentsports.com. Make sure you go there. Catch all the games this weekend on Proview Networks. Until next week, God bless you all.
Where's Michael Carlisle?
Michael!